you so much for coming to ATV-Talk. So who are you and what do you do exactly?
Well, Lenny, I really appreciate you having me on. My name is Audrey Mason. I'm with the San Diego Off-Road Coalition. We're a nonprofit that fights to keep the deserts and trails open, so we have places to go play with all of our beastie toys, right? I mean, I think every vehicle here is a beast in some form or another, right? I love it. I can't believe all the different ones that we got out here. So we are here at the Lakeside Rodeo Grounds at the Off-Road Jamboree. This is our first event that we've had. And we're putting this on because we need a new lobbyist in Sacramento. So it's a fundraiser event for us. We unfortunately are a political organization that we have to steer with and work with everybody up in Sacramento to keep deserts and trails open so we have places to go play. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. Aside from that, there is potentially a new lawsuit that we're going to have to file against Akatia Wells. I don't know if you know, about 8 years ago we had to file a lawsuit to intervene with Akatia Wells for the Center for Biological Diversity had filed a suit to make it trails only, and that was when they did their general plan. Well, their general plan they have to redo. And so they basically threw out all the work that they did 8 years ago, which is a 2 to 3 year long process for them to do. The general plan is what operates the state park, right? That's the rules and the regulations that are put in part for all the state park employees to manage and operate that park. And the general plan goes into place for 30 years. So this could change the course of how Akatia Wells is managed for the next 30 years. And I know that our biggest opponents, the Sierra Club and the Center for Biological Diversity, want to make Akatia Wells trails only.
So when you say trails only, we're talking about walking trails that nobody ever walks in the desert ever?
Well, thankfully not Anza Borrego status. They still will allow motorized or want motorized recreation there. But can you imagine, with all the influx of side-by-sides and what we've had recently, staying on the main marked washes like Crossover Trail, San Felipe Wash, Arroyo Salido, all of those washes, that's a marked actual wash trail, named trail that's on the map, and that would be it. And not having an open desert to ride across, it could be devastating for Akatia Wells. So this is what this is about. We've teamed up with a couple of other nonprofits. We're trying to raise money to bring in so we have the funds available so we can get the lobbyist in Sacramento, so we can start at the legislation level and stop the rules before they get put into place. And you got to start it before it stops. And then on the back end, once it goes in, we got to file a lawsuit, right? So we need the funds available for us to be able to operate and do what we need to do to fight and keep the deserts and trails open.
Time on the road together, and a lot of well, and a lot of our lives together.
Scarred me for life. I'd probably never be the same.
Probably not, but I just want to say how much I appreciate it. This is our 3rd year anniversary show. We've been doing this for 3 years, so since the first time that we taped till now, it's been 3 years. You were the first guy that I had on the show, and I wanted you to be the anniversary show. So I really appreciate you coming and doing this. We are at the San Diego Off-Road Coalition's Off-Road Jamboree here in Lakeside, California. We're at a mobile show, so we're at a mobile event. So some of the background you hear, we apologize for it, but there's not a whole lot we can do about it with cars going by and people talking and walking by. So please bear with us, and Doug and I are going to have a conversation about his career racing, and we're going to catch a little bit more about your racing career instead of we got a lot of background from you, where you were from, things like that. There's also a big conversation, Doug, and I want to just head this off first. There's also a big conversation on the internet about who the greatest of all time is. And yeah, I'm biased, and everybody knows it. And we're just asking, in your mind, who's the greatest ATV racer of all time?
And there's so many people that are experts in their field and stuff like that. And, I mean, Gary did. I mean, it's hard to put a thumb on that guy and say he's not one of the greatest or the greatest. But he did it back east with all the fast guys, pretty much back east. I mean, motocross guys and stuff. I mean, they're back east. Hats off to them. They're better riders back there for some reason. They get a lot of practice time or something like that. But I don't know. I mean, there's so many. I'd like to think of myself as the most diversified rider. I can do about everything and done about everything. So I don't know. I mean, I'm proud and happy that you feel like I have the race all the time, but I don't think of myself that way. I just want to be remembered for what I have done and be remembered as one of the greatest. It's all that matters to me, really.
Well,
and without your help, without your help, without Duncan's help, Roland's help, and it probably would never happen. So.
The Go Fast Girls. Where did that come from?
Basically, it started off with me calling my daughters Go Fast Girls. We were going out to Glamis, going to the racetrack and stuff like that. And basically, it started from there. Somebody said, "Hey, you know what? That'd be a great T-shirt idea." Well, then we thought about it. We looked into it. There wasn't really much out there for females, or help promoting females in motorsports. Not a ton, and action sports. So one design turned into out of the garage, and it was also to teach these guys about understanding business, money, being in front of people, sales, and whatnot. And it's kind of the rest is history. We've grown from one shirt into many designs and a big trailer now, and we're now going to NASCAR, IndyCar, Moto America, MotoGP, a lot of local events, motocross nationals, and things like that.
That's an incredible story. And Bear, I apologize, I didn't introduce you. Bear and Shay, and your last name?
Charbard.
Yep. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us on ATV-Talk. We are a motorsports podcast, so we cover all gamuts. We do focus on ATVs, and if you go on there, Shay, you'll see that there's a lot of ladies that have came on our podcast. We had Summer Kukla, who races flat track motorcycles here earlier today, and you race, right?
Yeah.
And what do you race?
KTM 65.
Do you like that machine?
Yeah.
And where do you spend most of your time racing?
Probably Fox Raceway.
Fox Raceway. Is the track rough, or is it really good for you?
It depends on which race. Like, Moto for Kids is like really soft, and like for the main event, it's like really ruddy.
Yeah, you don't like the ruts?
No, I like them.
You do?
Yeah.
How long you been riding?
It's been about 3.
How old are you now?
9.
So you've got about 6 years of experience under your belt riding. You spend much time out at the sand dunes or the hard-packed desert?
Yeah, most of the time.
And how do you like coming to the events like this to promote Go Fast Girls?
I like watching the races. I love supporting all the girls and women out here, and like all the little girls, giving them stickers and taking pictures.
You should really think special thoughts about your dad, because not a lot of ladies get promoted in motorsports or in other sports as well. So the fact that he's willing to put forth as much energy as he has along with your mom is pretty special. Welcome to ATV-Talk. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good today.
Thank you very much for coming and sitting down and talking
Thank
with us.
you for having me.
Oh, no problem. I know your dad from eons ago, probably 40 years ago. Verona Oaks, or actually wasn't Verona Oaks, Verona Hidden Valley Raceway. We raced three-wheelers.
Alcohol? Or no? Just
Right up here in Verona.
Verona.
Yep, we had a shop over in Santee. Well, we still do. Danny's Machine Works, Duncan Racing. So now it's trickled down to you.
Yeah.
And you race side by side.
Yeah. I race a UTV Honda Talon. We got it for my dad for Christmas 2021, and then I had the idea of, I saw people out in the desert racing them, and I'm like, that looks awesome. We should do something like that. And so my dad's all like, okay, and he looked into it and started racing together, started building up. Our first race was full stop car, right? Well, we put window nets and fire extinguisher in it and stuff. But after that, we just built it up, and he raced the first two races, and then he asked me if I wanted to race, and I loved it, and he saw that and kept me in the front seat, the driver's seat, so been doing that.
And going from, you were the co-pilot?
Yeah.
So going from co-pilot to driver
Yeah.
is quite a transition, isn't
It
it?
is. To be honest with you, ever since I started driving that car, I'm not a big fan of being the passenger, but I love being in that car. I've learned so much about myself just driving down in the desert racing. It's a lot of fun.
Really?
Yeah.
As far as endurance, desire,
Oh, yeah.
things like that?
Oh yeah, it's all mental game. When you're in that car and you gotta push yourself and you want to give up, but you're like, no, I've got 2 more laps. We gotta do this. That's a lot of battling in your head, just pushing yourself. And you have to work yourself. I condition, go running at the gym, just because you're in that car for a very long time and it gets really hot. So you gotta prepare yourself for that. So it's a lot about learning about yourself and just.
Yeah, I haven't got the chance to walk through. I know you got stuck over there talking with Lauren because he built some of the stuff that you race.
Yeah, he's built a couple of our engines and always rebuilds them when they fall apart or they blow up or whatever happens to them, or helps us with mechanical issues if we have any.
How's this season going for you so far?
Pretty good. I got off to a rocky start. 1 or 2 races into the season, I broke my collarbone, and then just last race, I feel like I'm finally back into my groove.
So
I was before.
You're not having any more issues with it at all?
No.
You know, in 2008, they had a flat track course in the arena, and your grandpa and I got to go out there and ride.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I've heard about that. That'd be so cool if they do that again.
I wish they would.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
I don't think my machines have started since then.
Wow, that's been a while.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
You
like
know.
a long time.
you were pretty little then.
I've been 2.
Now I'm old. See, thanks. Anything special coming up for you in this season?
Not a whole lot. We're on a break at Paris right now and don't have a whole lot of. There's a 2-month break, and then we're gonna come back in a couple months there. But we're gonna keep racing at Campo, and we might hit a couple other local races in the meantime. So that's the goal with that for this season. And then next season we might start traveling a little bit more and have maybe a couple other pretty big races we've been talking about.
The series that you would race, what series is that? if you're going to travel?
Well, we probably wouldn't do a full series. We'd probably just hit a couple races, because that would be a lot of driving with going miles and miles and miles. If we started racing up at Lodi or wherever else they do races, Southern California or even Arizona, we'd probably just do a couple of the races out of the series, and then but be going all over California, Southern California.
Welcome to Atv-Talk. How are you, buddy?
Hey man, thanks. Happy to be here.
So, you're the guy that runs District 38.
Yes, I am.
You guys are the
So-
race. They're in their own.
Should I get the complaint list now or later?
Well, I've got one running at home, so you know.
All right, he's a real rider.
Anytime you promote racing, you know, you can't make everybody happy.
Right,
You do the best you can, and you kind of try to give the people what they want. But you know, even if it's you know, sometimes they have legit complaints, and sometimes they're not.
So how are the turnouts out
Get in there,
there?
hurry up.
We were doing really, really well. We were getting about 120 people at each race for motorcycles and quads, and now it's down to about, I want to say, probably average of 90. You know, with the economy and the gas prices always hurts racing. So, but one thing that's really carried us through is our newest program is the UTVs. You know, and
Right.
that's helped kind of, you know, kick some more cash into it, so we can actually, you know, do more.
How many of the UTVs do you get during it?
Well, it's kind of funny. When we first started, there was about a dozen or so, and now it's up to 40, you know, mid-40s. So we run them after the motorcycles and quads. We're still, you know, motorcycle and quads are our, you know, heritage. But yeah, now we're, you know, branching out, trying to expand.
How are you guys doing with growing it as far as maybe expanding some of your style events?
Yeah.
You know, because they used to have some things like 24-hour races.
Yep. I was actually hit up 4 weeks ago, a guy who wants to like basically fund it, and I was like, okay, if you're sure you want to do that. It's so much harder these days than when Fud did it, working with the BLM. They charge now, and for a 24-hour race, I mean, you might have $15,000 to $45,000 in BLM fees.
And you're funded. The BLM is funded by the taxpayers. That they're making money on it.
Yeah.
As well as us paying the bill.
Yeah. So basically, if you can get away with all their costs being under 50 hours, you get it for free. Once it goes over that, you have to pay. And something that would, like a 24-hour race, you know, there's going to be a couple people probably out there all the time. But if the guy is serious and he wants to do the 24-hour race, we're definitely going to start that process and kind of find out how much it's going to cost.
Well, there's a 2 to 3 time 24-hour champ next to you.
Well, you know, I don't like to brag about myself, but I was on the team that won the first one.
Adam Philbin, how are you, brother?
Doing great.
Hey, thank you for coming and sitting down with us here. This show is pretty amazing, and you are a big part of it. What's it all about?
So this event, we basically are putting it together with San Diego Off-Road Coalition. I'm with Clean Desert. We're both nonprofits. So we basically wanted to put together an event where we could generate funds to give back to the desert. So San Diego Off-Road Coalition is generating funds to get a lobbyist to help keep our deserts open. You know, our whole goal is really that we do desert cleanups, again, to keep our deserts open, to make sure that they're clean. Off-roaders get blamed for, you know, trash in the desert, even though we're not always creating it. So yeah, we're just trying to put something together. Figured San Diego's almost the mecca of off-road, so why not put an event together?
You know, back in the day, before I had a lot of gray hair, the industry was even bigger.
Mhm.
And it's pretty amazing that everybody ridicules the desert community or the people in the off-roading community. what are some of the things that you could tell everybody to do to help make it better for the off-roading community?
That's a great question. The big thing is being cognizant of your surroundings when you're in the desert, right? Especially like local deserts, no hand signals. You want to be safe while you're out there. Along with that is just education. And so, our brand, Clean Desert, like my goal is, we put on a couple cleanups a year, but really to let people know. I know, take me back 20 years. My parents never took me to the desert. We didn't recreate out there. And I didn't necessarily know the rules or how to be a good steward. So now that we're older, it's like, how do we give back? I want to teach people that, it's cool to clean up the desert. It's cool to make sure that you're a good steward of the land, and you're doing something positive, because all these vendors, everyone here, if the desert gets closed down, then what? Then what are we doing, right? So it's really important to make sure that while you're out there, you're being safe, you're making sure it's clean, you're just helping out, making sure that everything is great out in the desert for us.
Well, from my experience, it's not always the people that have used the desert for years and years that are causing the problems. It's the first timers or the newbies that really don't understand what it's all about.
Yeah, and so, again, that's, us with Clean Desert. My goal is, like, if we can get somebody with a Clean Desert sticker, shirt, hat out in the desert, they may bring a friend, they may see the brand, and then realize, hey, it's like, why am I throwing my beer can on the ground, right? That's the education. And so getting our brand out there and showing that in front of people is important, because I think that can prevent some of it, right? We do a lot of cleanups where we're picking up illegal dumping, but it's not to say that, first timers aren't throwing their beer cans. I'll be honest, I was young. I don't drink, but I was young. There's a soda can I probably left in the desert at one point in my life, right? And didn't think about it. And so it's just the education of the new people coming in. And that's what we've done for our cleanups is we target the younger generation, right? We bring out a lot of cool race vehicles. We bring out a lot of cool raffle prizes for the younger generation that can't afford those parts. And then hopefully they'll, through osmosis, they'll learn that, like, hey, this is a great thing. We've been a great steward. Clean Desert's giving back to me as an individual, because we're going to the events, cleaning up and winning free prizes. So let's teach other people. Let's teach our kids. Let's teach our friends. It's a big deal.
Well, you have my card now, because this is, no offense, this is the first I've heard of Clean Desert.
Yeah.
And, I've been doing this for a long time, but I would love to be able to get as many correspondence from you as possible, so that we can post it on all of our social media and cover even more ground than we would normally. Do you see a lot of mostly UTV people coming, or are you starting to get ATV people as well?
No, good question. So we've been doing this since 2006. 2006, 2010 is when we started. We took a long time off to have a family get started in life, and we came back. And my influence, a lot of what we do is based on trucks, because I used to be an off-road racer, 1450 class, grassroots type stuff, right? So that's a lot of our sponsors. A lot of those companies believe in what we do, but we're trying to branch out. In San Diego Off-Road Coalition does a lot more of like the 4x4 type stuff, and that's us working with them. They're getting a lot of our our volunteers and our friends coming out, which are like more pre-runner and race vehicles, and now we're interfacing with their 4x4 and Jeeps and that type of stuff. And that's what's important is we're all on the same page. We're all here doing something positive. So how can we help each other out and grow? That's why Clean Desert and San Diego Off-Road Coalition are here today. Is we're growing each other.
Well, not only is it going to help here in San Diego, but this is going to help in Arizona, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, anywhere where there's sand dunes that where people are going. Mm-hmm. This education is going to help them wherever they go.
And it's great. So the difference that I've seen from 2006, 2010 till now is it's the awareness. It's blown up. Right before COVID, through COVID, as much as everyone wants to do stuff, we're finding that the awareness, people wanting to give back to these positive causes for our desert, is blowing up. All these companies out here are all great friends, and they're all willing to give, and we're just seeing this huge positive influence, which is great. And so we're taking it, we have friends in Oregon, Sons of Smoky up there, Keep Our Deserts Clean in Arizona, and doing killer jobs all across our western states that I know of, and I'm sure there's stuff on the East Coast. But all these vehicles that are getting used, like any of these states, there's people doing the same thing. And it's huge. We didn't see that 10, 20 years ago.